I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters, and we ain't got nothing to hide.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Pregaming here on Sports Money, Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. Won't stop, can't stop, not going to stop tonight, that is for sure. Blew it apart yesterday. Busted them up, dragged them out, threw them in the garbage. That's what we did last night to those bookies, and excited to run it back again. First and foremost, shout out to them Florida Gators. Congratulations, our Florida family. Appreciate you guys rocking with us last night on that live stream. And congratulations to the Florida Gators national basketball champions. And I'm still thinking about what we saw in the chat yesterday when the Final Four is in San Antonio. Teams that wear blue. What is it? They won 8 in a row now? Something like that. What a great stat. Shout out to Trisha M. and her Gators getting the job done. What else? Well, we got the job done yesterday. No doubt about it. It was a ridiculous day. We netted over 13 units of profit. Not a loser on the card. In fact, the only loser was the Houston plus 1.5 that I gave out on our live stream, unfortunately. Other than that, the books got absolutely beaten down yesterday. And I thought I had the threes. They actually tied. I gave the 3-pointers out. I think it was plus 160. Houston to have the most threes. And they both tied at 6. So, okay. That's the way she goes. But listen, we had a fantastic day. We started it off cashing that Detroit Tigers bet plus 130 against them Yankees. Detroit ran it back again today. Busted up Cookie Carrasco. He's a bum. The under was absolutely free money in that game, which kind of surprises me a little bit. We rolled it back. We had the Pittsburgh Pirates to open our show up. Got that cash in there. They won that game 8-4. Easy victory for them Pirates. We crushed that Toronto. I told you guys it was a Toronto smash spot. I told you. It was plus 110. Everybody loves an I told you guy. It was not a Boston spot. I still think Boston's in trouble again tonight, by the way. That bullpen, or that pitching staff's just a mess right now. Change in order, change in road. It's just a mess. It's a mess. Not going to give an official play on Toronto tonight, but I do think that they are still, again, a live dog. What else? Under 8 in the Minnesota KC game. AL Central teams battled to unders. First half was sweaty. Glad I showed some restraint. Full game. 4-2 final. Kansas City gets the dub. And Bobby Witt cashes an RBI for us at plus 160. Terrific day on the diamond. Then we rolled over to the NHL. And we slapped them around. Added that player prop. Joel Hofer, under 23.5 saves. Sweaty, but he had 23. 23 gets the job done. It also led us to cash our parlay between Winnipeg and Calgary. Now, some of y'all thought I was nuts. You're fading the Blues? Man, these books were telling you there was no way, shape, or form to be invested in the St. Louis Blues last night. And the books were telling you that. They were begging you to take that streak that St. Louis was on. And it didn't get there. So Calgary wins, Winnipeg wins. That was a plus 129 parlay that we cashed on. We smashed and cashed, as a matter of fact. It was a nice little W. What else? Well, listen, I gave it out earlier in the day. The line did move, but we talked about it here as well. 66.5 under in that first half. It was 59 points in the Gators and Houston. So we got that first half under cashed in the national championship, in the Natty. We got the under 6.5 in that Anaheim-Edmonton game. Edmonton's just too banged up. And how about Anaheim actually gets the win? Anaheim, the outright W. But our under 6.5 cashed, it was 3-2. And then insult to injury on these bookies here. We closed out the shop with the Seattle Kraken at a plus 190 dog. And they won outright 2-1. Nothing to attribute that to other than sneaky suspicion the Kings were looking past those opponents. So it was unbelievable. It was an unbelievable day. Really, it was unbelievable. I mean, we took some lumps last month here, but this is the way we build, man. We have been firing Friday, Thursday. We had that PFL card on Thursday. We beat that spot up. Friday, we got in there and got some cash. Saturday, we destroyed it with the UFC. Sunday rolled around. We had a nice day on Sunday. And then, of course, I mean, let's just keep it going, right? All those days are in the past. We got to start over. It's a new day. It's time to make some new money. We got to move quick. We got to move quick because, well, I got a couple things I got to do. So today's plays, though, I did give out the under 7 in that Mets and Miami game. Sadly, in the 6th inning, it's 6-2. Just never can trust these Mets. Still, I need them to hit. They don't hit. I don't need them to hit. They do hit. We're riding here. We got the Cleveland and under 8.5 spot at plus 137. Gave that out earlier today. And the Jose Ramirez RBI. So that was some afternoon action that I shared out there. 6-5 now. Jesus. Mets and Marlins. That's what I'm saying with the Mets. You want to take them on the run line because who the hell's Connor Gillespie? But then you got Clay Holmes. Busted up. 6-5. Bad call. But the White Sox and Guardians are sitting at zeros going into the 8th inning. So can we get a hero? And can his name be Jose Ramirez to get us into the black for this afternoon's action? Matter of fact, that would get us comfortably into the black here. Let's take a quick peek at the batting order. Well, they're in the top of the 8th. So it's going to be White Sox time to hit. And unfortunately, the White Sox are in the bottom of the order. So that's the way the cookie crumbles. We got some big action tonight. Man, I stopped at 4 in the NHL. I might add a 5th. If you guys want me to add a 5th, I will. I think I will. I really like the spot. I had to cut it somewhere. Toronto and Florida will battle down in Florida. Detroit and Montreal will battle north of the border. Carolina and Buffalo will battle essentially in my backyard. And Seattle and Utah will battle in Utah to close the night out. Then we're going to move over into Major League Baseball. I've got 2 plays for you guys in Major League Baseball. I wanted to get some more action in baseball here, but look. Not sure what that message means, but I told you guys Toronto and Boston. I still think it's Easton Lucas to beat up on Garrett Crochet. The problem that you have there is that they've finally found their bats. They found their rhythm. Did tell you guys to stay away from that Dodgers game yesterday. I didn't like it. Something just screamed at me, stay away from this thing. And I'm glad that we did. Then we're going to go from Philly and Atlanta, talk about Minnesota and Kansas City in Major League Baseball. And we'll wrap it up with 3 NBA games here. Tricky schedule here with the NBA. Tough to find teams that it matters for. That's ultimately what it comes down to in this case. And hopefully we found 3. I found a nice plus 220 spot that I think will get us paid out there. But I do appreciate everybody, the kind words, the thank yous that came through DMs for the day yesterday. Certainly makes it fun to do this stuff when you guys are cashing with me. And I really appreciate you guys taking the time to smash the thumbs up button. That's the most important thing that you can do here to help us grow. We are viewer supported. We love the gifted memberships. Absolutely adore the donations. But the biggest thing you can do to help us here is smash that thumbs up button. You close the chat, you pop open the thumbs up, you pop the chat back open, and we'll get to work. How's that for a deal? Deal? All right, deal. And thank you again to everybody that joined us last night. Great views, great likes, great comments, great cash. Great. Trying my mic in a different position here. So I'm curious if it makes any bit of a difference with you guys. But shout out to Ramon Scott as well. Ramon Scott bags the confidence pool, gets himself first place, representing sports money across the enterprise here. Hardest working channel in the business. You found it here at Sports Money. We grind. We don't sleep. Got some golf action coming up for the Masters this week. Looking for MMA Jeff's plays. I'll get some plays out there for you guys as well. I'm going to try to put some plays out there, maybe even tonight. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like here for the evening slate. Then, of course, we got ourselves a big banger on Saturday with the UFC 314. So we'll shoot first strike tomorrow. Swept the boards last week. A little mini sweep. We'll 2-0. A little 2-0 because one of the fights got canceled. So we went 2-0 last week. We'll have the playbook updated and ready to roll here by tomorrow night. You'll see quite a bit of plays in there and then more to come. So we got all kinds of fun things happening here in the world of sports money. And just getting bigger, just getting better, just getting better. Probably shouldn't say better. Doesn't even sound like good English. Doesn't even sound like good English, but I said it, and I guess I own it. So that being said, though, let's have a day today. You know, why not? Why not us? Why not us run it back with this meaty card and try to find these spots to kick the bookies right in the throat? Best in the business assembled here, so get your pen and paper ready. They're going to share their best bets. I'm going to read them off. You're going to write them down, and you're going to put your best bets in the chat so that we can go out there and get the glory together. We're all working with the same goal, and that is to get that money out of our bookies' pockets and put it in our own. And that's what we do here. We leverage tools, trends, line movement, cash flow splits analysis. We'll talk about the injury reports. We'll talk about all of that. We'll talk about what these guys had for breakfast if it helps us find an edge in this thing. That's what we're here to do, and I appreciate you taking the time to do that with us. We know Jover's on vacation. He did drop in last night. It was good to see him on the live stream. I had a little too much Uncle Jackie last night on the live stream. But Gerald Jones will come in as the first commenter of the day. He says the Gators finished the job. Best bet now, 32-19. Golden State, -5.5. First half for Gerald Jones tonight. On a hell of a run. Look at that, 32-19, my man. Let's go. Joe Dubs here. Bo Jackson. Daddy Beats is in the house. Says hit that like. Facts. There's Trisha M. Got a boys stay hot. Gator boys stay hot. Excuse me. Thanks for putting up with my shenanigans all season. Hope you cashed some tickets. It wasn't all season. It was only when they started getting well. They started firing that we had to hear from you about them. So it's all good. Congratulations again, Trisha. Big win for them Gators. Nasty Nate thinks the Red Sox are going to smash this time. I don't. So we'll see. We'll see. It's a good price tag. They should, but I just think their pitching staff it's not straightened out yet. It will. Doesn't mean it won't. I mean, they were the number one team to win the AL East. But with that being said, everybody predicted the New York Yankees to not make the playoffs. So, Teddy Pete's got the White Sox. He's got the Celtics. Any more chance to get Indians money line, says our guy, Gorky. Let me look. Ooh. Not really. I mean, the line was 7. I think it was 7. So we teased it up to 8.5 and took him on the money line. But it's super juice now. I mean, I would potentially wait until the end of this inning. I don't even have, let me see what ESPN has to say for us here. Yeah, I would wait till the end of this inning if you're looking to get into the Guardians now, just simply because they're at bat and there's only 6 more innings for these boys to play. And that's why we're sitting at -200 right now for this squadron. Peter Grassi is here. Good to be here for the action, he says. Appreciate that. Joe Jones. Coming a YouTube member. Appreciate that, my man. Let's go. Dana Delp likes the Reds +115. Skunt Blasters Skunt Bag play of the day is in. And he likes the Pelicans money line and the Braves money line in a parlay. Making parlays great again. Well, we've already made them great. They're already pretty freaking great, man. But I love to see it. I love to see the action. Thank you for coming in, Skunt Blaster. Peter Grassi says the book nailed it too, -1.5. Yeah. I thought about that afterwards. I was like, man, 1.5. It's a 2-point game. Crazy. Robert McCormick's here, so that means we can get going and ready to start this show here. Get the show moving. We got to get moving. Not enough time in the day to make it happen. So let's pop off with the NHL. I told you, some nights, it's fortunate that it's a full card, but some nights in the NHL, much more available for us than others. Like this Devils and Bruins game here. Devils probably win this in regulation, and I think it goes over. And you can catch the over at 5.5. It's like a 4-2 game. It's like a 4-2 Devils win in regulation spot. I like that spot. I'm not going to play. It's nothing official. Nothing official for me. I am going to start with the Toronto Florida Panthers game. Got some trends in this one as well, and kind of a, I don't know if I want to say shenanigans. Look, Florida's blistered with injuries. That's what's happening right now with Florida Panthers. They got the Toronto Maple Leafs coming into town. Toronto's got a game here tonight, and then they'll play the second leg of the Southern Tour when they play Tampa Bay tomorrow. And the Leafs are kind of getting hot, and they're getting hot at the right time. Now, there's a lot that are saying that there's jockeying around to see who they're going to play for these playoffs. I don't know if I believe all that. I don't think, hockey players are different animals. They don't take days off. They'll take stitches on the bench, and they don't give a shit who's in front of them. You're going to have to play the best teams at some point anyways. So I don't believe they jockey around for scheduling. That being said, Joseph Woll will start. 25-13-1. He's got a 2.78 goals against average, a 90.6% save percentage. They're hot. They won 4 straight. Wool's been playing well as well. 29-31 shots, saves rather. So you got a guy that's 90.6% save percentage. His last game, he comes off at 93.5%. It's a 3-2 win. It is the Anaheim Ducks, so let's not go crowning these guys the National League champions here yet. But they also did beat the Florida Panthers 3-2 last week. So the news from Florida land is Barkov and Reinhart should get back in their lineups. Now, I wanted to take Florida. Originally, I was looking at this thing. I got a big trend for you guys. I'll read it off for the next game that does say Florida Panthers. However, I find this perplexing with these players coming back. I never want to get involved with a team when they're trying to jockey around the lineups. First line guys go down to the second line guys go back to the third line. Now you got new things happening all over the place, and you really didn't have much time to practice other than a morning skate. But when things get in flux, where do I want to turn to? Well, I want to look at a total here. I got Sergei Bobrovsky on the other side of things with a 31-18 record, 2.54 goals against average, a 90.6% save percentage. These goalies are almost identical in every facet of the way. Only difference is Sergei's played more games. 11 more games, excuse me. He is the go-to. That's what you expect to see out of a number one. And he's certainly going out there and he's doing just that. I do see the revenge angle. I don't like the players coming back in this thing here. And at the end of the day, for me, this is just a simple situation where you look at what Florida's been doing with their scores. Let's go back to this Utah game. 2-1, they beat Utah. They lose 4-2. They lose 3-2. They lose 3-2. They lose 3-0. They lose 2-1. They are certainly on a losing streak. But they're not scoring. That's what it comes down to. Teams not finding the back of the twine. And when you're not finding the back of the twine, it's hard to get involved in investing on your side here. I will say this. When you're playing in the same division and you're a favorite with a total less than a 6, the home team prevails. Same division, books made you a favorite, lower scoring game, home team prevails. They are 124-45 are those home teams. That will apply to this next game that we're going to talk about. But for me, I just got to go to this thing being a lower scoring game. I think you got both teams just trying to get into the playoffs. Florida's just trying not to do anything stupid to themselves at this point. They've been losing to the good teams. I don't think they're going to want to go out there and show a blueprint. I know they just lost to this team 3-2. I expect it to be a similar style game. Again, with Toronto knowing who's on deck, Tampa as well here. They want to get through this thing. They don't want to get injured. Yeah, they're riding that 4-game winning streak. Columbus they shut them out 5-0. What happens after a team shuts another team out? I love to look for that under the next time around or fade that team as well. Lots of things told me to get involved with Florida, but I'm just going to take the under in this game here. I got the under 5.5. for all the aforementioned reasons. I think that's good money for us. I think that's how we can open the card up to get paid. We'll roll on to Detroit and Montreal, the next game on the agenda. I rather like the spot. The Detroit Red Wings will start Cam Talbot, 20-17-4. 2.87 goals against average. And a big win against them Florida Panthers. He saved 32 on 33. Played pretty phenomenal. In fact, 3-1-1 in his last 4 games with a 1.72 goals against average and a 94.5% save percentage. All those numbers trending up. That's a guy that's getting hot at the right time. Sort of. Problem for Detroit. They just can't score. We talked about it ad nauseum. I'm not even going to bring it up again. But what happens here when you got a team that's expecting goals and they can't find a way to get them, that they lose. They lose these games. Sam Montembeault on the other side of things, 2.9 goals against average and 89.6% save percentage. And look, the Canadians still got to fight. They're in the wild card position in the Eastern Conference here, but they got to start building their confidence back up as they go into this playoff push, and I think that's the situation here. You want to look at another goaltender that's been hot? This guy has a 2.9 goals against average on the season. He's got a 1.75 goals against average over his last 4 games, and they are winning 4-0. Red Wings desperate for points, but I like the spot. This is that home favorite in the division. It's a huge margin showing the victory on the Montreal side of things here. You're in the division, you're the favorite, and the total's less than a 6. 6 or less, I guess I should say. The home team prevails. The home team finds a way to get their victory. And I'm expecting Montreal to come out there and get this victory. Home field advantage, home ice advantage. You know, when you look at Montreal and kind of what's left on their schedule, every game's going to count. You know, they're kind of sitting in the middle of the pack. But again, with having that wild card position locked up here, trying to find teams that have shit to play for, they got 5 games left. I mentioned they've been on a 5-game winning streak now. They're about to go on the road and play Ottawa, Toronto. Then they'll finish off with Chicago and Carolina back at home. They need this game. They can take one of the 2 on the road before they come back home. You know they're going to get that Chicago game, and they'll finish the season off where it probably won't matter against Carolina. So they got to do business. They got to go to business tonight. They got to get their money. They got to get their chips. And I think that's the way they go about it. 124-45 are the home favorites in divisional play. Let's go. Let's take a little La Habitance at -133. The Habs. Let's go. What do we got? What do we got in the house with you guys here? Big Scott's here. He likes the Pirates' first 5 money line, the Brewers' money line parlay. Jerry Davis says, shit, I can't fade Wheeler against the shit Braves lineup. Robert McCormick says, cash good in the Champions League. He's ready for the evening slate. Jerry Davis says, Devils eliminated. Not yet. Not yet, they're not. Not yet, they're not. And Peter says, true NHLers are tough mofos. Remember Cam Neely lost it? Dude, you remember fucking Jeremy Roenick went down to stop a slap shot and took it right in his face, right in his teeth. Lost all his teeth. Didn't stop him. He's a beast. Speaking of beasts, the beast of the East, Carolina, Buffalo. Sharp respected bettors came in there. The sharp respecting bet report triggered off with the under in this game. Keep that in mind. The under. Keep it in mind. We look at these 2 teams. We see what's going on between them. And Carolina's going to go to Kochetkov, and the Sabres are going to go to James Reimer. Who? Well, put some respect on this man's name. He started 6 of his last 8 games for the Sabres, and they've won them all. With this guy in the net, they've won them all. He's got 2.93 goals against average and 89.9% save percentage. 2.79 with a 90.6% over the last stretch of games. He's 8-8-2 as a Sabre this year. And what a better time than taking a team that's not scoring in the Carolina Hurricanes. They've been outscored 10-4 in their last 2 games. They've caught L's in both of those spots. They're going to go to Kochetkov, who has been, if you're going to point the finger, we're not going to point fingers, but it's Kachkov's fault. He's struggling. He's got an ugly 4.61 goals against average and 80.4% save percentage over that stretch. They're 1-3. Somehow they caught a win, even though he was puking his nuts up. And Sabres team coming in red hot right now, winning 4 in a row. When it doesn't matter. Too stupid to know they should lose. But I'm going to get involved. I'm going to take the Sabres. Not just because it's a plus 190 price tag. Got to do some research. What is tonight in Buffalo? Does anybody know what tonight is in Buffalo? I'm waiting for the chat here for a second. No? Going? Dead air doesn't make great YouTube videos, does it? It's Goathead Jersey night, boys and girls. That's the red and blacks for anybody that doesn't know, and they dominate in those red and blacks. Remember I said the sharp perspective bettors are coming in on this game for the under 6.5. It's Carolina. I don't want to get involved in a total. My feeling with Buffalo, when we get involved with totals, we're just getting too cute. You can't predict when they're going to do what they're going to do. I'll tell you what, though. You got to look at a guy like Tage Thompson. Guy's been on absolute fucking fire. And he's finding a way to cash checks. He's scoring goals is what it comes down to. You look at this guy's overall goal scoring here. If you're going to look for anybody, plus 175. That's a number to take. Not minus 110s. Plus 165s, 175s, 185s. Look for Tage Thompson to score here tonight. But give me the Sabres and the Goatheads at plus 190. I like it. I think it's a good look. I think it's a strong it's a plus money spot. For sure. It brings us to the next game, and kind of the strategy here is if we can clip one of these two, we're going to be up. And if we can get them both, we're going to be really up here. Seattle Kraken, of course, just played that game against the LA Kings, and we were up. They're playing the Utah Mammoth, or the hockey club, as they say. Looks like Grubauer will start for the Kraken because it is the second leg of a back-to-back, and this will be at altitude with Utah. And Karl Vejmelka starting in goal. I don't know what to say about these two guys. I mean, look, Grubauer stinks. He's 7-17-1. He's got a 3.52 goals against average. Vejmelka, 24-21-7. They just can't win with this guy in net. And he's clearly been the go-to. He has gone 32 of 33 saves in his last game. That was a 4-1 win over the Winnipeg Jets. Problem I have with this game is I'm not laying $2 on the Utah Hockey Club. I don't care. I don't care who's in goal. You guys have heard me talk about it before. It don't matter who's in goal for me with this thing at minus 220. There's no freaking way. You got a Kraken team that's kind of fizzled out. They've run their course. They've run their track here. But, hey, much like last night, guess who's investing in the Seattle Kraken? Besides me. It made the Sharp Respected Better report. That thing's been money in hockey. We talked about how they take some big favorites. They're not just price shopping. They will go out there and take whoever the hell they have to. But you know what? I think that Seattle's just in here playing spoiler role. They have won 3 in a row. They've all been on the road. So maybe that's kind of like the best case scenario. They had those 2 shit games a couple weeks ago against Dallas. They were both in Dallas. It was like a Saturday-Monday combo, remember? They didn't leave. They had just beaten Edmonton the game before that. And so they kind of got, I think, a little complacent with that 3-game homestand. They go on the road. They take down Vancouver 5-0, who's fighting for a playoff spot. They smoke the Sharks 5-1. And then they take down the Kings last night. Team's getting hot at the right. It's like the Sabres. And ironically, they were plus 190 last night. The Sabres are plus 190. And here come the Seattle Kraken at plus 190. Now, you could take the plus 1.5s. They're not horrible numbers, minus 120s, minus 115s. But I asked you the same question I asked you last night. Is it likely they're getting blown out? Or that they win the game by 1 goal? Well, probably blow out. What are the chances they lose this game by 1 goal and you're plus 1.5? You're taking all the juice off the table. You're changing it by a whole buck in the other direction by laying, you're getting the puck line. I get it. But there's no things as safe. There's no safe plays here. Go for the big bang. We hit it more than often. And when we do, we catch ourselves. This is 3.8 units between these 2 games if they can both get the cash for us. Get creative. You can look for some live bets. You can find some ways to get out of this thing if that be the case here. But between the Goathead Jersey night and the Seattle Kraken team that's somehow running hot across the West, maybe it's time. I talked about this before, where we see the tide washes out. And all we can see are the broken bottles left on the shoreline. And that's what we got here with this Seattle Kraken team against this Utah Mammoth squad. Now, Utah, on the other side of things here, look, they're in a tough spot. They need some work. There's no doubt about that here. Sitting 6th in the Central Division. Remaining schedule for these guys, though, 5 in hand, one of them being tonight. They played Nashville twice. They do have a game against Dallas and a game to close the season off against Seattle. But they just beat Winnipeg. They know they want to go out there and get that Nashville spot to close the stand down here. This is going to be the 4th of 5 straight home games for this team to close things off. And that's where I think things get sleepy. That's where you get a little lazy because you're sitting there at home and you're just kind of hanging out, waiting to see how the hand plays itself. And yeah, if the sharps are on it, it's good enough for me. We're going to take this plus 190 spot. And Jerry Davis says they're 0-0. Sounds like they're due. 0-11 on the second leg of a back-to-back. But I'm good. I'm good with it. I mean, look, sometimes you got to look at the other squad. This is the Arizona Coyotes team with minor adjustments at best. They've been riding the piss out of Vejmelka. The last time he hasn't started was back on February 22nd. So the one factor that we have in this situation is, as much as the Kraken are on that second leg of the back-to-back, and there is the altitude factor, you got 4 of 5 straight home games. You got 2 games against Nashville on deck. You got to focus on your Dallas spot. And your goaltender's been playing like 20 straight games. That's a problem. And it's a problem because Ingram got hurt. Or, I don't know, what he hurt his nose? Well, I don't know what he hurt. I shouldn't laugh. I don't know. Sounds like a treatment facility. Sounds like a treatment facility issue here. But I think that becomes problematic because if this guy does get lit up early, who's going to go in? That's the Zamboni driver. That's how we work with the NHL. That's the way we're going to finish her off. Do I have it here? No. I was looking. I mean, I don't want to say it's free money. All right. I'll tell you what. I'm going to add one more. I'm going to give you guys the Islanders here against the Nashville Predators. Sorokin, Annunen. Sorokin just kind of had a whole bunch of Photoshop opportunities out there by letting Ovi score that goal. It was a 4-1 game. Everybody was firing in on the Capitals. Everyone was looking at the over. That thing stayed under. Largely because of Sorokin. He played great that game, by the way. 28 of 29 saves for a 96.6% save percentage. He's 90.6 on the year, so he was 6 points higher in that game and a big moment to step up and go answer the bell. Predators stink. They're clearly phoning it in. They've lost 6 in a row. We talked about this back in that Flyers game where they just pulled back and they just didn't even try shooting with Stamkos. And your goaltender's playing like shit. 5 goals on 27 shots in his last game. That was a 5-1 loss to the Dallas Stars. To further exacerbate that fact here, we've got the Islanders at a 124-87 situation. Has a lot to do with the fact that your opponent's a piece of shit. When they're winning less than 42% of their games on the season, you're not winning. You're a losing team in a bad situation against a team that likes to score and keep their opponents off the score sheet. That's the way you win hockey games. Now, it does suggest a 137-64 to the over. I'm going to add the Islanders. I can get him here at minus 120. I'll give you guys that ad spot there. It's a big hockey card. I told you there's a lot of things I like involved with this NHL slate. So that's an 8-10 start. So that one spaces us out a little bit. We got a little something to fill the gap between the 7s and the 9s. Let's go to the MLB. Let's kick this puppy up. Let's get this thing rolling. Let's get this show on the road. It's most importantly what we need to do with this thing. And we got the battle of the bump. We got 2 aces on the mound here. When you start this thing off, we're looking at these 2 guys. Oh boy, here come the Guardians. Come on, Guardians. Punch it home for us. Okay, Phillies are going to start Zach Wheeler. Wheels is 1-0 with a 1.38 ERA. Chris Sale, their ace, 0-1 with a 5.4 ERA. And I'll just tell you right now, I'm not going to take the full game. Something's funky with this line. I'll give you guys the splits. Sorry, I forgot to give you the splits in this thing. No more college basketball season. It's too many games, too short a period of time. Okay, this line opened at even money. It's pretty much sitting there. It's oscillated. You know, when I talk about oscillating, it opened at plus 100. It's moved to plus 102 on the Philly side of things. But it opened at minus 118 for the Braves. It's moved to minus 115. So it's oscillated. Basically, what happened there is this is why we want the most important, the first number on the street, because somebody opened a lineup and then all the other books adjusted it and took their limits off. And that's where we saw that's kind of where I figured the oscillation in the line movement is. 75% of the bets and 73% of the cash have come in on the Phillies. Furthermore, the total hasn't moved with 96% of the bets and 96% of the cash. And I'm just going to spot play this thing. Whoops. My mouse just died. When I say spot play, I mean, I have the worst luck with these wireless mouses, whatever. Spot play. You got a top 10 hitting team versus a bottom 10 hitting team in Atlanta. Atlanta's been on a seat for a couple of days now. Their game got canceled on Sunday against I think it was Miami, right? And here they come firing in here, trying to get their best on the bump. And Chris Sale, he is a lefty, but I don't think that's going to pose much of a challenge here for this overall hitting squad that is this Philadelphia Phillies. These guys are just firing right now. I mean, again, top 10 in batting across the board. It's everybody. It's not just any. I mean, Schwarber certainly is a guy that's going out there feasting, but you know, the reason I'm going first 5 and not the full game here is because I want to try to exploit this best pitching matchup. We got our best guy in the bump. You got your best guy in the bump. We got the wind blowing in as well, about 10.5 miles an hour, kind of in across right plate. You know, but across the board, everybody's seen this guy and hit him with the exception of Stott and Rojas at the bottom of the lineup for the Phillies. You know, your best guys and Schwarber aren't even crushing him. They saw him 6 times. He got 1 hit off him. Castellanos is a great look here for any kind of RBI action tonight. Sitting there 5th in the order, 43 at-bats with 9 hits for a 209. Alec Boehm's out there hitting a 400, and Bryce Harper mashing a 333. They haven't seen him a ton. But I wouldn't let lefty versus righty lineup scare you in this thing here. I think you can pick this guy off. Later in the season, it'll be a different story. You know, overall for this young man, and he's not so young anymore, but Chris Sale, you know, shit the bet against Detroit, the Dodgers. Shit the bet against the Padres. There's no reason he can't shit the bet against the Phillies here. Just the first 5, though. Low number. I mean, you can take the plus a half. I don't want to take the plus a half. I don't know how many plus a halves I'm going to take this year. I don't find there's much merit in it. What happens to me is the team gets bashed up or I win outright. So I'm going to win this one outright with these Phillies. Not much to get behind with this thing other than the fact that you just got a cold team in the Braves. They're cold in every sense of the word. Their starting pitcher, they've had a couple of days off. It's chilly as well. The wind's blowing in. Should be a pitching duel. I think that there's enough heat in those bats for the Phillies to be able to at least squeeze a 1-run advantage here through this first 5 innings. And then, you know, bullpens come in there. I probably would give the bullpen edge to the Braves right now. It's just hard to say. I mean, the fucking team's 1-8. What do you want? They're 1-8. They stink. Do they find a way to come back and win this game at the end? Well, I told you guys the other day, I don't like the Phillies bullpen. They give me some angst. So I just want to isolate it. I just want to pick on Chris Sale today. Now, maybe later in the season, I might not be saying that, but Peter Gracia says Sale's not been good lately. Redbeard likes the Pirates under 2.5 in the first 5 innings for our guy Redbeard. Guardians minus 2,100. Get it across the plate, boys. Come on, do us this favor. Do us this solid here. Okay. Ramon Scott. Tatum upgraded to probable against the Knicks. Can't wait to talk about that one. Show you guys the play I got for that one. All right. Let's go back to this AL Central matchup here. We had a pretty good read on it yesterday where we were looking at firing across the under with these AL Centrals. I don't think my mind hasn't changed between these guys being an under situation. We got Reagans and we got Lopez. I'll tell you this. I'm not a big K-prop guy, as you guys know, but I got Reagans graded through the roof for this game here tonight. Now, probably part of that reason is because we're not seeing a ton of offense from this Minnesota team. And where'd it go? What did I do? What did I do? This line opened up at minus 118. It has moved in the direction of the Kansas City Royals, now minus 124. You have 71% of the bets and 84% of the cash. So the sharper of cash is coming in on Kansas City. Should be no surprise that the respected betting report triggered off, and it's on the Kansas City Royals. The 7.5 has not moved for the total. 98% of the bets, 97% of the cash. Ain't seen a bunch. Lopez comes in with a 2.25 ERA, 1-1 on the season. Not bad. Reagan's not great. The bullpen let him down. 3.6 ERA, and they weren't able to find a way to get this W for him on the record. So he's got a 0-0 coming into this thing. And, you know, if you look at the lineups here, I talked about this Kansas City team. I mean, these guys, I think there's a lot to like about what we're seeing here. And it's early. I mean, Bobby Witt has taken over as the number one player on a lot of daily fantasy draft boards here. Bobby Witt's just a fucking hero. That guy goes, and you think about that. You got guys like Ohtani and Judge that are smashing the ball, yet they grade Bobby Witt higher. Why? Because he doesn't have all that star tax associated with him. He will, I'm sure, at some point. But he's also got a bunch of guys around him that can go and produce. I talked about Vinny Pasquantino the other day. He's got Johnny India. When Johnny India finally figures out he's playing in Kansas City, he's going to kick the shit out of some teams, man. It's something to be said when he was out there in Cincinnati, what he was doing. And you're looking at this side of things here with the Royals team. They've gone 3-1 in their last 4 games. They took down Baltimore 2-1 in that series. They got the Twins yesterday, game again stayed under for us. And on the flip side of things, they're set for this Minnesota Twins team. They're 1-3 in their last 4. That's not good enough for you. I got some numbers for you. We'll take some advantage here. We got the Twins have lost 11 straight games. You talk about the lefty-righty matchup. Who got it? 11 straight losses against left-handed pitchers. Who scored the run? Guardians won 1-0. We're cashed that. Cleveland and under. Plus money pay. Jones gets walked. You left the game on a walk, you fucking losers. Oh, man, that drives me nuts. That drives me absolutely batshit crazy. Hit the fucking dude at least. I mean, don't walk him, hit him. Come on, baseball. Baseball's soft, man. That's some soft shit, dude. At least mow it down the middle. Fucking throw as hard as you can right across the plate and just close your eyes. I mean, literally, that's all you got to do. Instead, you walk the dude. And Cleveland might be in trouble the next game, though. They had to go through 5 pitchers, so we'll see what happens there. But again, Minnesota stinks against the lefty. Not just that they stink, they're losing by 3.5 runs a game. Furthermore, when they're regular season dogs, they don't play well with Pablo Lopez. They're 0-8. Probably could double dip this one again, like I talked about yesterday. I'm not going to. I got a nice little price tag here for, I said I'm not going to. Let me look. It's a little pricey at minus 135 here. I thought this was just a fair number to take advantage. When you've got, you know, when you look at the starting pitchers, yeah. But you got better bats in Kansas. The theory for me in this, yes, the starting pitching says that we should be fading Minnesota because they're not good against lefties and they're not good when Pablo Lopez starts. But there's no question that the bats for Kansas City are arguably just more productive across the board. So with that being said, why not give your full opportunity to smash the shit out of these guys instead of just shrinking it down into 5 innings? This isn't one of those spots where I want to lay a minus 135, find out that they're tied 1-1 or 2-2. And then in the second half, the bullpen for Minnesota implodes. And we see a situation where Kansas City comes through because Bobby Witt goes and hits a miracle home run in the 9th inning. If you want to get cute and have some fun, I don't mind either a home run parlay or an RBI parlay between Buxton and Bobby Witt. Those would be the 2 guys, obviously, I would focus in on with this situation. And they're priced accordingly. I mean, Bobby Witt's plus 500 for a home run. Buxton is plus 400. You parlay those 2 together, it's 2,600. If you look to the RBI side of the house, whole different story. You know, I think that's, you know, I love the RBIs. I think those are some really good plays. I talked about that earlier today on Sharpie's show. I think those are some really sharp looks when you want to get involved with it, but I like it. I think that's a good spot. They also have some other situations on the card. If you look down, if you go down the trough a little bit in some of your books, specifically if you look at DraftKings, they got some really neat spots here where they're they're putting together Total bases for Pasquantino and Bobby Witt. 4+ at plus 115. They're telling you that Bobby Witt's going to get some type of production tonight. I think he's a good RBI look as well, but get a little greedy here. I think this is a good price for us to take the Kansas City spot. We'll take him. We'll move on. We'll get to this next game here. Keep her moving. Keep a brisk pace because I got a couple things I got to do. Here tonight. Spend all this time live streaming with you guys. I love it. But it takes away from some of the other things that have to get done. And we got a busy week coming up, so we'll lay out the schedule as we get moving here. I'm going to pop off this first game with the Boston Celtics, New York Knicks, the Knickerbockers. The short pants here, 73% of the bets and 69% of the cash have come in on the Boston Celtics. This total has dropped, 93% of the bets and 91% of the cash. Probably this line is moving as a reflection of the Tatum being available news that Ramon had shared with us earlier. And overall, these two teams, these two squads, the Knicks are 4-1 in their last 5. Only team they lost to was Cleveland. So when they play shit teams like Portland, they nuke them. Philly, they nuke them. Atlanta, they nuke them. Phoenix, they nuke them. When they have to step up in class, they get nuked, or at least melted. 105-124. They got busted up at Cleveland. Now they're in the Garden. And the Celtics team's been cashing and cashing and cashing. 3-1 against the spread in their last 4. They're 4-1 straight up in those spots out there. The question is, who the hell have they played? The answer is nobody. They played the Spurs. They played the Grizzlies. They did pick up wins. They played that red-hot Miami team. That gave them some fits. They lost that game 124-103. We talked about how damn hot Miami's been. And that one was in their own building. 10.5 points. We were on the 10.5. We should have just taken the money. Shit. It had to be like 750. Then they play 2 more games at home, so they got a 3-game homestand before now traveling on the road. They just finished off against Washington. Then they busted Washington up 124-90. 34-point victory means rest, and more rest. And we got to try to find the motivation spots here with these games. I think we found it. Lines flip-flopping. I expect Boston wins this game. They've won 17 of their last 19. They're just beating teams up. The spread becomes a question. And, Jaylen Brown, Tatum, and Porzingis, all still being kind of those question marks. The reality is, how do you attack this game? Do you just take the money line? Do you look at a money line spot here with Boston and say, screw the points? It's now moved back to 2.5. You can catch the money line at minus 135. I think that's fair. Or you can shoot on over to the fine folks of FanDuel, and you can grab a Boston Celtics margin of victory, 1 to 10 points, and get a plus 220. Doesn't matter. As long as they don't win by more than 10. And I don't suspect they will with the injury factor going on here. Yeah, the Knicks are still trying to battle and grind, but at the end of the day, that 1 to 10 window with a spread that moved from +1 to -1 to +2 to -2.5 now, it's flip-flopping around telling you Boston should win this game, and they probably sneak out a 3 or 4 point win. Maybe they cover, but you can maximize this thing. How about this? After a game that they shot less than 16 free throws, and you got a total that's over 215, Celtics are 8-0. They're sandbagging the books. I think it's a great spread spot. I think it's a nice money line spot. Fair enough to say minus 135. But when I dug a little deeper and found that plus 220, that's how I wanted to get paid to start off the NBA card. 3 games, got to find the spots, got to make them pay where they can. And the Boston margin of victory, 1 to 10, fits the bill. Fits the bill nicely, as a matter of fact. Plus 220. Okay. Yes, Guardians come through for us. Nice to see. There it goes, right? What if you took the -1.5? Or you took the -1? No, what we did is we teased up that total, took the Guardians on the money line. Probably the fewest of few that were able to cash on that thing without laying egregious juice in that Cleveland Guardians game. So we'll continue to look for spots like that. We've had some success with that team, like the Yankees team total over in Yankees when they're priced at -170s. When you know they're going to go out there and smash, let's see them smash. Let's see these guys smash. We got the T-Wolves and the Bucks in a bat. This one is a battle. There's a thinnest of thin margins between these two teams here. Kind of the scenario. It was tough to break it down because if I'm not reading it wrong, the Timberwolves are in like a crazy fucking 4-way tie for the West Conference. The Clippers, the Warriors, the Timberwolves, and the Grizzlies are all tied between 5 through 8. You couldn't ask for any more motivation from the Timberwolves side than that. I can't imagine. All teams, by the way, are supposed to win their games tonight. They're all big spreads. So you got to get this team ready to go. They got to come in here fired up. There's no question about it. On the other side of things, when you look at the Bucks, they're 1.5 games ahead of the Pistons. They have 4 games left on the schedule. And the Kings upset the Pistons yesterday. 6.5 points. 6.5 points. The Sacramento Kings come out there and get the win outright. So if they win today, the Bucks will pick up a 2-game advantage, and the Pistons only have 3 games left. That all but locks in the Bucks for a playoff spot here and to make things happen. So both teams should come in highly motivated. The situation for me just kind of simplifies itself down to who's been more consistent. Well, the team that's got the best active winning streak in the NBA right now are the Minnesota Timberwolves. They've won 5 in a row. As crazy as that is with these giant spreads. And their defense plays better. They allow 3.5 points less a game than the Bucks. So you got a motivated team and a 4-way tie with some really solid talent. Yeah. Where I think this comes down to it, though, if you look at this game, the Bucks are 8-0 to the under when they're a single-digit underdog. They continue to go under by 14 points. Lower scoring game to me means this thing's probably tight through the first half. Probably can catch a nice live bet in the second half if they're even down by 1 or 2 points in the Timberwolves. But I think they'll pull away, later in the game. I think that's where you'll see just that hotter team, running more consistent, playing that chess match. We talked a little bit about the chess match last night. That was dialed in on that Houston-Florida call, by the way. And I think we do see a little bit of that here. The Timberwolves need this game. They're not going to do anything stupid early. I think it'll be a tight battle, and then I do think that they'll have enough to pull through and cash that 5 or 5.5, whatever number it is that you can pick on it. Again, the Bucks 8-0 to the under is a single-digit underdog. They're a dog for a reason, and they're at home. And you got a situation where this line is starting to move now as well. 5.5s to 6s. Good enough for me. I realized I didn't give you guys the spreads on this thing, huh? This opened at -1.5. It just moved to 6. It was 5 earlier today. Went to 5.5. It's now 6. 49% of the bets, 54% of the cash are on the T-Wolves. And it's moving that direction. So there's a little bit of a differential there for the sharp money on the Timberwolves. I'm good with that. Not the sharp money report, just the quick read of the line there with a 5% differential. I expect the Timberwolves to win. This total's dropped, by the way, when I was telling you about that Bucks 8-0 trend to the under. 225 dropped to 222.5. And you got 93% of the bets and 94% of the cash on the over. And it's dropping. Everybody's betting the over and it's dropping because they don't know about that 8-0 trend to the Bucks. They're thinking this is going to be a score fest. And it could very well be, but I think the Timberwolves separate in that second half, particularly the fourth quarter. Stay and keep an eye on that game through the whole way because you might find some really terrific spots to live bet before they put the foot up ass in that fourth quarter and pull away on this Bucks team. And the last game I got for you guys is the Warriors and the Suns. This line's been steamed. 79% of the bets, 81% of the cash jumped in on the Warriors. I forgot who it was earlier. Sorry. I saw your first half play. Jerry, what's our guy? Excuse me. Joe Jones, right? First half spot there. I think that's a really good look. My challenge is they're on the road. The Warriors moving into Phoenix. This total's dropped from 228.5 to 227. You got 90% of the bets and 90% of the cash hitting on this over. And it's moving against it. And it's moving against it because the Sharps know the Suns find themselves in a 7-0 under position. Dogs have 2 or more against a team they shot better than 48% the previous meeting. What that tells you is this. Suns aren't going to win, or at least the books don't think they're going to win. And they don't know what total to put on it because they shot the lights out the last time they played the team. So when they look at recent matchups, the books are overvaluing that recency bias that they saw based on how the Suns played Golden State the previous time out there. And the under reigns through. And that's the way I'm going to finish the show. Put a bow on this puppy. Sorry, I didn't move that. Take Golden State. Take the under 227.5. It's a full show. We're loaded up here. I added that Islander spot as well. So I'm going to be sweating all night. We had a terrific day yesterday, but it is in the past. So guys, do me this out. If you could hit the thumbs up before you leave here, that would be greatly appreciated. And if you could make a comment in the post on this here. If you cashed with me yesterday, put the game you cashed on. And if you're going to tail me today, put the game you're tailing me on. We get over 100 people checking this thing out. and just a slim handful of comments. So it doesn't take long. Good, bad, or indifferent. Just take a second to put a comment out there and just say thanks. Just say Celtics. Just say whatever. Say what you got to say, but say something, you guys. I appreciate everybody rocking here. Kelly V, Jerry Davis, Brian Smith, Old E. Let's go, you guys. Coins in the house, rocking with us here tonight. My guy, Joe Dub. Justin McKelvey says sports money is money. Tarek B. Let's go, baby. Appreciate all you guys. We'll see you again here tomorrow. Same time, same place. Sports Money, pre-gaming, 6 p.m. on behalf of the Sports Money crew. Have yourselves a wonderful evening. Get that cash. Get that money, baby. Get that money. See you guys real soon. Appreciate everybody.